कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा बनसारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवाय सुभद्रमाय जय सुदर्शनाय। जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर, गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी। जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव, लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव। जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य, निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, welcome to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we are going to discuss from 4th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 29 and 30. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Let's recite today's verse 29. नष्ट शौचा मूढ़धियो जटा भस्मास्थिधारिणः विशन्तु शिव दीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवम्। नष्ट शौचा मूढ़धियो जटा भस्मास्थिधारिणः विशन्तु शिव दीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवम्। नष्ट शौचा मूढ़धियो जटा भस्मास्थिधारिणः विशन्तु शिव दीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवम्। Word by word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय। Word by word meaning, नष्ट शौचाः, cleanliness being abandoned, मूढ़धियः, foolish, जटा भस्म अस्थिधारिणः, wearing long hair, ashes and bones, विशन्तु may enter, sorry, Shiva Dikshayam into initiation of worship of Shiva, yatra where, Daivam are spiritual, Sura Asavam wine and liquor. Translation: those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hair on their heads, When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they preferred to live on wine, flesh, and other such things. Purport. Indulging in wine and meat, keeping long hair on one's head, not bathing daily, and smoking ganja, marijuana are some of the habits which are accepted by foolish creatures who do not have regulated lives. By such behavior, one becomes devoid of transcendental knowledge. In the initiation into the Shiva mantra, there are mudrikashtaka, in which it is sometimes recommended that one make his sitting place on the vagina and thus desire nirvana or dissolution of existence. In that process of worship, wine is needed, or sometimes in place of wine, palm tree juice, which is converted into an intoxicant. This is also offered according to Shiva Agama, a scripture on the method of worshipping Lord Shiva. Let's check the next verse. Verse number 30. Brahmacha brahmanamश्चैव यद यूयं परिनिन्दथ सेतुं विधारणं पुंसाम् अतः पाषण्डमाश्रिताः ब्रह्मच ब्राह्मणांश्चैव यद यूयं परिनिन्दथ सेतुं विधारणं पुंसाम् अतः पाषण्डमाश्रिताः ब्रह्मच ब्राह्मणांश्चैव यद यूयं परिनिन्दथ सेतुं विधारणं पुंसाम् atah pashandamāsritaah. Brahma, the Vedas, cha, and Brahmanan, the Brahmanas, cha, and eva, certainly, yat, because, yuyam, you, parinindatha, blaspheme, setum, Vedic principles, vidharanam, holding, pumsam, of mankind, atah, therefore, pashandam, atheism, asritaah, have taken shelter. Translation. Bhrigu Muni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of the Vedic principles, it is understood that you have already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism. Purport. Bhrigu Muni, in cursing Nandiswara, said that not only would they be degraded as atheists because of this curse, but they had already fallen to the standard of atheism because they had blasphemed the Vedas, which are the source of human civilization. Human civilization is based on the qualitative divisions of social order, namely the intelligent class, the martial class, the productive class, and the laborer class. The Vedas provide the right direction for advancing in spiritual cultivation and economic development and regulating the principle of sense gratification so that ultimately one may be liberated from material contamination to his real state of spiritual identification, Aham Brahmasmi. I will read this fragment again. So that ultimately one may be liberated from material contamination to his real state of spiritual identification, Aham Brahmasmi. So this is the real purpose of Vedas. As long as one is in the contamination of material existence, one changes bodies from the aquatics up to the position of Brahma, but the human form of life is the highest perfectional life in the material world. The Vedas give directions by which to elevate oneself in the next life. The Vedas are the mother for such instructions, and the Brahmanas or persons who are in knowledge of the Vedas are the father. Thus, if one blasphemes the Vedas and Brahmanas, naturally one goes down to the status of atheism. The exact word used in Sanskrit is Nastika, which refers to one who does not believe in the Vedas but manufactures some concocted system of religion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that the followers of the Buddhist system of religion are Nastikas. In order to establish his doctrine of non-violence, Lord Buddha flatly refused to believe in the Vedas. And thus, later on, Shankaracharya stopped this system of religion, like Buddhist religion, in India and forced it to go outside India. Here it is stated, Brahma cha Brahmanan. Brahma means the Vedas, Aham Brahmasmi means I am in full knowledge. The Vedic assertion is that one should think that he is Brahman, but actually he is Brahman. If Brahma or the Vedic spiritual science is condemned and the masters of the spiritual science, the Brahmanas, are condemned, then where does human civilization stand? Bhrigu Muni said, "It is not due to my cursing that you shall become atheists. You are already situated in the principle of atheism. Therefore, you are condemned." ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So yeah, we are going through the sequence of Prajapati Daksha organized big sacrifice, and so many guests are there. And when Prajapati Daksha himself enters the arena, then Lord Brahma, being his father, he did not rose to pay him obeisances because he is anyway his father and senior. But Lord Shiva also did not get up to pay, respects. So Prajapati Daksh, who is the head of all Prajapatis, made so by Lord Brahma himself. So when he observed this, that Lord Shiva is not getting up and paying him respects or obeisances, he became extremely angry. Not being fully aware of Lord Shiva's position, he always despised him, Lord. Prajapati Daksh always despised Lord Shiva, and he was always, angry within. Why? Irritated within. Why Lord Brahma forced him to, give his daughter, dearest daughter, youngest daughter, Sati, to Lord Shiva, whom he considered as vagabond. But Lord Shiva's position is even higher than Lord Brahma. So anyway, so he actually cursed a few things, that Lord Shiva will not get any share in any sacrifice. The shares are meant for demigods, but Lord Shiva will not get it. This kind of curse he spoke, and he left that area. So Brahmaji tried to stop him, but he did not actually withhold. He continued with curses, and then he, in anger, he left the area. Then what happened? Some of the Brahmanas, like priest class, who were invited by Daksha, they were keeping silent. So the etiquette is that when a great devotee, a Vaishnava is being blasphemed, either we should stop that person or we should leave that area. One of these two things. We should not remain there. So some of the priest class Brahmanas, Karmakandi Brahmanas, you could say, so they remained silent. So that is considered as Mauna Swikriti, silent approval. So then Nandiswar became upset. Nandiswar is, a great follower of Lord Shiva. So he became upset, and he actually cursed these sections of Brahmanas, actually, that, you all will have to, you're all like a body conscious and all that. And he cursed Daksha also. Anyway, so he cursed the priestly class who were silent approvers of Prajapati Daksha's attitude. Then Bhrigu Muni was also sitting in that area, and Bhrigu Muni is is considered foremost of the, one of the best of the Brahmanas, right? In fact, Lord Krishna, while speaking Bhagavad Gita, so he says that, right, a famous verse, chapter 10, verse 25th verse, right? Maharsi Nam Bhrigur Aham, right? Like Grami Asmi Ekam Aksharam, Yagyanam Jap Yagyosmi, like that, Stavaranam Himalaya, right? So that's the famous verse where Japa is also established as supreme form of Yagya, but first thing is Maharsi Nam Bhriguraham. So that is what Lord Krishna's statement. So Bhrigu Muni is of course very empowered personality, very senior most among all, and there are many occurrences where Bhrigu Muni's glory is established. When Bhrigu Muni went to just to establish, just to settle a debate that who is supreme among Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So, he examined, and when he reached Vaikuntha abode, like he raised the examination bar to highest degree, and to test the, level of Vishnu, and he hit Lord Vishnu on the chest, right? When he was lying down and being served by Mother Lakshmi. So then, of course, Lord Vishnu did not become agitated at all. Rather, he showed the extreme level of humility, which is like beyond our material conception. So anyway, point is that Lord tolerated Brigu's strike, right? Striking here by a foot on his chest. So Lord tolerated, of course. So it's not that Lord's glory reduced. Rather Lord Vishnu's glory is much more celebrated. Anyway, so Bhrigu is like a further, uh, recounted in during the pastime of Bali and Vamandev, right? So when King Bali, he actually recaptured the entire three planetary system, and he drove out this demigods, and he became the sole custodian of the sole ruler of the heavenly planets, also earthly as well as lower planetary system. So that time, Mother Aditi, right? She performed this Payovrata to please Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Lord Vishnu appeared, and Lord Vishnu knew the innermost desires of Aditi. She had some very severe type of desires. Anyway, so point is, but Lord Vishnu at that time told to Mother Aditi, when he appeared at the end of successful completion of Payovrata, that right now the Daityas, right, they are under the protection of Bhriguvanshi Brahmanas. Okay, Sukracharya comes in the lineage of Bhrigu. So that's why I will not kill them just like that. Just because you desire so, I will not go and kill them. But I will fulfill your desire in some other way. But I will not kill them because they are under the protection of Bhriguvanshi Brahmanas. So that again establishes that, how much Lord values Bhrigu Rishi, right? And Brahmaji also, right? So he's the son of Brahma and exceptional among other sages. Anyway, so what happened when Nandiswara cursed the assembly of Brahmanas, then Bhrigu Muni also became very upset, and he counter cursed, the followers of Lord Shiva, and that is what is the sequence which we are going through, right? So he says that essentially that you all look like hippies, essentially hippies, right? That is the single word which represents all these things in today's time, right? In a colloquial way. So you don't, you keep long hairs, you don't take bath, every day, and basically you follow, you do some abominable things and all that, right? And you are bereft of transcendental knowledge. That is the main essence, right? And another thing, yeah. So that's the characterization which Bhrigu Muni actually basically gives, okay, of the followers of Lord Shiva. But this, when curse and counter curse was happening, then Lord Shiva left. That will come in future. Yeah. So let's discuss some of the points which I could, um, basically collect when I was going through lectures and I thought over it for last few days. Yeah. First of all, actually, there are two aspects of Lord Shiva. One is that gross materialists who actually approach Lord Shiva, and they just want some material opulence, money and wife and just wealth, women, wine, essentially, right? So these are one section of people who approach Lord Shiva. Okay, so Lord Shiva actually sees that such people are incapable of real incapable of understanding any transcendental knowledge. Okay, so he actually not he doesn't want to be bothered further, so he just gives them such kind of material benediction. Okay, so Lord Shiva sees who is like, what is the intention of the person who is approaching him, right? And what is the level, that level and intention, both patra, suyogya patra, whether he is worthy recipient of transcendental knowledge or not. If he sees there is no chance of transcendental like upliftment of this person at right now, at that moment, then he just gives them whatever material desires they ask for, and he gets pleased very fast. And that's why it's called asutos. Anyway, so such people who are gross materialists, who don't have any inclination or idea about transcendental, transcendental knowledge. Yeah. So then they get satisfied just by material benediction. Like famous examples are asuras, all the daityas, right? Ravan, Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna was slightly better, but than Ravan, but still they were all asuric personalities only. And later on, also like Brikasur, so many different demons, right? They all approach Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and they try to obtain some special power by which they can dominate every other living entity. Like Hiranyakasipu also, of course, he approached Lord Brahma. But point is, the demoniac people, they have this tendency that they want to trample others, or they want to suppress, exploit others. And I want to be, supreme, like that. And I will enjoy the most. These kind of tendencies they have, like that. I want the fame, this false prestige in society, power, gold, money, and then beautiful wives also, not one, many. These kind of tendencies they have. Anyway, so such people are happy with material benediction. So Lord Shiva just gives them, whatever they desire for. But there are another class of people who actually approach Lord Shiva for some, transcendental thing, or at least they are, basically they are not asuric. So there are some examples of that, like one famous that during our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Lila, right? That time, one Brahmana who pleased Lord Shiva so much, and then basically he asked that, give me the best thing, or the, most opulent thing, or something like that. Then his intentions were clear. He was not actually, worshipping Lord Shiva um, for some material gain, outright material gain. Then Lord Shiva, out of compassion, told him that you go to this Goswami, he lives there, the address and other things, location, Lord Shiva informed him, and he will give you, actually. And actually, first, he gave him one paras, this, what do I say, touchstone thing, right? So he received that, but sorry, that happened later. Let me come back. Yeah. So then he reached there. So this Brahmana reaches Sanatan Goswami, right? And Sanatan Goswami actually, basically, he talks with him and then figures out that this Brahmana's desire is to get the most opulent thing. First, Sanatan Goswami gives him the touchstone, right? Which was kept in a garbage area, like something not clean or not auspicious. Then Brahmana takes this, and then he wonders for a moment, why is such a valuable thing kept in such a like a filthy place? Then he inquires from Sanatan Goswami. Then Sanatan Goswami actually tells him that the highest thing, or highest, the most transcendental thing, or most blissful, most joyful thing, right? Or the biggest opulence is Krishna Bhakti, right? So then basically this Brahmana gets basically guided properly, right? So this is the thing. Lord Shiva actually, he sees the intention and the level, patra, so yoga, the proper bona fide or suitable recipient, right? So based on the level, Lord Shiva actually reciprocates. He is the topmost Vaishnava in this material world, right? Vaishnavanam yatha sambhav, right? So that is famous. In Bhagavatam only it's mentioned, 12th canto, 13th chapter, right? 16th or 18th verse. Anyway, the point is, Lord Shiva is the initiator of Vaishnava Sampradaya also, right? Rudra Sampradaya, one of the four authentic Vaishnava lineages. So it's not that Lord Shiva is like vagabond. He lives like that because he's not at all interested into sense gratification. He's always absorbed in Vishnu, like some pastimes of Lord Vishnu, Krishna, Ram, right? So he's absorbed. So constant absorption. He is in Lord Krishna's pastimes, right? Name, form, pastimes, paraphernalia, all this, the Nam, Rupa, Guna, Lila, right? So in these things, if someone is fully absorbed all the time, that is samadhi. That is actual samadhi. Not that, in today's time is here in through some news that person, he has acquired some mystic power in some little quantity, and he will just close eyes, remain motionless, and they actually remain below the ground for some time. And people, foolish people, think that is samadhi. That is not samadhi. Samadhi is constant absorption in Lord Krishna, Vishnu, Ram's, name, form, pastime, all these things, right? Qualities, contemplation, or releasing Krishna's pastime constantly in one's mind and heart. That is samadhi. Anyway, so Lord Shiva is topmost Vaishnava. He is the Vaishnava Acharya, founder Acharya of Vaishnava Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, right? So those people or devotees who take guidance of Lord Shiva, to basically increase their transcendental knowledge and become Krishna conscious, they are actually glorious. But they are fewer in numbers than those followers who approach Lord Shiva for material gains. And these people who are, body conscious and approach Lord Shiva for monetary gain, they are they concoct many ideas, that Lord Shiva will be satisfied like this. If I offer wine and this kind of thing, then Lord Shiva will accept it. Lord Shiva doesn't accept these things at all. Actually, it's a common sense. Actually, Lord Shiva is a top Vaishnava, and such a top Vaishnava will not accept anything which is not offered to Lord Vishnu or Krishna or Ram, right? So Lord Shiva will not accept any such abominable offerings, right? Because any Vaishnava, they will accept only Krishna Prasad, right? So why would Lord Shiva accept all these abominable offerings, wine and flesh and all that? Actually, I read it that when such things are offered, or even so-called sattvic food, right? If it is not offered already to Lord Vishnu or Krishna, then Lord Shiva gives these things to his like ghostly followers. That's why it is actually mentioned technically that Shiva Uchishta should not be eaten by any sane person, or who is aspiring to become a Vaishnava, because that is not a prasad at all. That is Uchishta of ghostly personalities. Such a non-prasad, simply put, non-prasad, if you offer to Lord Shiva, he gives it to his ghostly followers. And that is what then we think that remnant is, essentially ghostly personalities remnants. In subtle way, they actually touch it or take it, something like that. So we should not take that. Yes, the bona fide process is like in Jagannath Puri, right? So whatever we offer first to Jagannath Ji, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Sudarshan, right? And that through the parampara system, like eventually after it becomes Mahaprasad, it is actually offered to Vimla Devi, then it becomes Mahaprasad, right? So Jagannath Puri is a special. That is actually happily accepted by Lord Shiva, right? So that is the process to offer any bona fide offerings to Lord Shiva. Being topmost Vaishnava, he will not eat or accept anything which is not prasad, right? So that is the proper understanding. But foolishly, and arrogantly, this materialistic persons who approach Lord Shiva, they try to offer something abominable. They think this is best. Actually, they want to satisfy their own senses. They just try to, make Lord Shiva as a, approver, some sort of approver. In Bhagwan ke Shiv ke naam pe wo log they satisfy their own senses. Same with Kali also. It's not that Mother Kali actually wants some goat's blood or something. It's not like that. They just want to take some sort of labeling or approval from such personalities. Anyway, coming back. So the thing is here, one of the main lesson which we can draw from these two verses is that the followers, basically non-bona fide followers of Lord Shiva, they imitate Lord Shiva's actions, rather than follow the instructions of Lord Shiva. So there is a difference between imitation and following the instruction. Those people who approach Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava, they are the followers of the instructions of Lord Shiva. Like, follow the process of Krishna Bhakti. But these Asuric persons, followers, declared followers of Lord Shiva, they are imitators. So there is a consequence of imitation, right? They always, they will fall down from any knowledge of any transcendental understanding, and basically they fall into lower and lower species, right? Basically, they will commit some abominable things, and naturally they will not, jaganna gunvritti astha adho gachanti tamasa, right? So they also have some hope eventually because of the causeless mercy of Lord Shiva, but otherwise they don't have any transcendental benefit or any real benefit, right? Yeah. So imitation should not be done. And in Bhagavatam, this point has been spoken 2-3 times at least. Once during when Samudra, this ocean churning happened, right? Milk ocean churning. First thing came was this. Sorry, my bad. It may not have been the milk ocean, but anyway, when the churning happened, the first thing came was poison. Okay, this poison was halahal or halhal or halal, whatever we call. That was very severe, right? So this actually was suffocating so many living entities across the world. So then, demigods prayed to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva actually protected the living entities by personally drinking all the poison. And so we can understand the power of Lord Shiva. But he had that power and he withheld it in his throat only, right? All that. So that blue line actually mark is there. That is a glory. That's the ornament of Lord Shiva. Anyway, point is, Lord Shiva had that, he has that potency, right? So we cannot imitate Lord Shiva, right? So that is mentioned. We cannot basically copy. In the name of Lord Shiva, actually people drink ganja and other things, and then they say that this is prasad of Lord Shiva. This is complete bogus, actually. Yeah, So Lord Shiva didn't drink it for sense gratification or to get high, as we say it all colloquially, right? To get high. He's always high in real sense, that he's always absorbed in Krishna's pastimes. He keeps on contemplating, remembering, and the kirtan. Like he keeps on describing it. To his wife as well as to many other sages, right? So that is his all occupation. Always Ramanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. That is what he keeps on actually doing all the time. So point is, Lord Shiva did not drink poison to get some, or some sensual thing. But so-called followers of Lord Shiva, they consume such things in the name of Lord Shiva. So it's a negative propaganda, in fact. Anyway, that is one point. Imitation versus following the instruction. And another thing is this in this purport, this Shiva mantra, right, and some Shiva agama. Through that, some process is mentioned. Just few points I will share out of that. Actually, there is Tantra Marga, and in that actually there are also two divisions. One is the Dakshin Marg, one is the Vama Marg. Okay, as the name suggests, Vama Marg is basically the ulta. It's the opposite of the righteous way. Okay, so the proper way, actually, even in this Kundalini thing, it begins from Muladhara and goes up to Sahasrar. Okay, the 1,000 petal lotus shape in the Brahmarandha at the top of our head, right? That is Tantra Marga. Okay. And Vam Marga is actually they begin from Sahasrar. Actually, they start from there only. That is Vam. So that is kind of you could say ulta. It's the opposite of the standard process. So they try to achieve it through actually sexual energy and all that, and through this wine and other things, as it is mentioned here, right? In purport itself, right? Yeah. So these things, right, in wine and all that. But the thing is, this is not recommended, right? See, fundamentally, if we go back to the basics, we are spirit souls and we are part and parcel of Krishna, right? Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. If that personality who is like Krishna, he himself says that he gives for the easiest process, right? And joyful process, right? So Sukham Karto Mavyam, right? And simplest process of chanting Hare Krishna, right? Simplest process, just chant the holy names of the Lord with faith and actually accept Krishna Prasad and serve the devotees. Here Krishna is pastime. These are the simplest of process. There is no violent or abominable things, right, involved into the process given by Krishna himself. That is Bhagavad Dharma. What Krishna gives, the process given by Krishna, for us, by following which we will attain Krishna. That is Bhagavad Dharma, right? That is the simplest and easiest process. And any sane person or intelligent person, they would go for that simplest person, right? If we are intelligent, then we will follow the simplest process to achieve something, right? That is what. So if people who are not sane or not intelligent, they actually follow these processes which are kind of abominable and actually not beneficial at the end, right? So simplest process is this. Yeah, and this is essentially, this means illicit sex here, right? This essentially, it's illicit sex, yeah. And wine and illicit sex, yeah. So even though they say that they can get liberation by actually, awakening the topmost chakra through Kundalini, that is all practically, it's a bogus thing practically in today's time. Okay, all that. And the simplest is, as Lord says already in the scriptures, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Namayu Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anatha. So it's already a statement, by authorities, by great Vaishnavas, by Lord himself, and then Brahmaji and Shivji, they are Mahajanas. And they say that, yeah, means Harinam is the only savior in Kali Yuga. There is no other process which will work. Then why would any sane person follow this process? So this is where the role of preachers come into place, right? So it is the responsibility of preachers to vigorously preach the simple and joyful process of chanting and hearing, right? That is where the Srimad Bhagavatam concludes, right? Culminates actually, right? Nam Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranamo Dukh Samnat Tang Namami Haring Param. That is the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So Bhagavatam concludes there. So we have, like, as a preacher, we have to share this thing in nice way with all the what do I say, ignorant or basically fence sitters, or who are not envious of Krishna, right? We have to share with them so they can actually not be misled. Actually, in YouTube or so many in today's time, and through so many channels, so many varieties of peripheral things that is being advertised. People think this is a spirituality, tantra is a spirituality, this is a spirituality, that is a spirituality. So they are getting confused. This is because of so many so-called so-called spiritual miracles. Those are not really a spiritual. Okay, simple thing is, as it is mentioned in Kali Yuga, only Harinam is the means by which we can achieve our liberation, real liberation, that is serving the Lord in going back to Godhead, right? So conclusion is that only it's the role of preachers who can actually save innocent bystanders, right, from such basically peripheral and not beneficial things, right? The last bit, one more thing I wanted to share. Yeah, regarding Bhrigu Muni, I already said that, yeah, he's one of the best Brahmanas. Yeah, this Vedas, right? Yeah, this point I wanted to discuss a little bit. Vedas, actually, holistically, if someone really understands the entire essence of Vedas, then Krishna himself says, right? Vedasya sarvair aham vivedyo. But the thing is that understanding will come to a person who is, open-minded, not biased, and one attains, basically one acquires the holistic knowledge of Vedas. Not that I read some section of Veda and then say, see, Veda says this. Same thing like I was discussing on Monday morning, that Vedas on itself doesn't mean fully spiritual. Vedas also include Karma Kanda, then you have Gyan Kanda, then you have Upasana Kanda. And it's not yeah, of course, in karma kandas mentioned in Vedas, Lord Vishnu is always, like any yagya sacrifice happens, Lord Vishnu is also kept, his mantras are also spoken. But point is, he is not the central whole and soul objective, right? Goal is regulated sense gratification through any Vedic process, like through karma kanda. Basically the worshippers, or the performance of the sacrifice, they want more and more sense gratification in a labeled way, that label par gaya, that I'm doing it through Vedic system. So that is not the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal of Vedas is already summarized in Vedanta Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra, right? The natural commentary also means basically one of the meanings is that what is the actual meaning of the entire Vedic system, right? That is captured in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita also, right? Krishna says that Vedasya sarver aham eva vedyo Vedanta krit ved videvcha. So if we have, half, we all know, right? Half knowledge is a dangerous thing. Yeah, in Srimad Bhagavatam also, or in all the Vedic scripture, some to propound some specific point, sometimes opposing points are first mentioned, and then finally those are those are negated through final positive thing. Like I was sharing from Srimad Bhagavatam second canto, third chapter, and we have like first few verses that for progeny one should worship Indra, for this one should worship Parvati. But then the verse comes, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udardhe tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Yajet means one should. Prabhupada translates one must. That is true, because unless the emphasis is there, people will take some loophole. They will go left and right. The point is, if one approaches Lord Shiva for for Lord Vishnu, even for some material benediction, then they will get material benediction also, as well as their consciousness will be purified. That's the benefit, right? Tivrena bhakti yogena, jajeta purusham param, right? But that decision will one will be able to take that decision if one has proper understanding of the Vedas, right? Not someone who gets lost into this or that section of Vedas. So yeah, don't need to blaspheme Vedas. As a devotees, we need to respect the Veda, because that's the four Namaprad also, right? To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. So we don't need to condemn the Vedas, but we have to be careful. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 3-4 times he has mentioned, he has tried to, basically ward off, or he has tried to alert Arjuna, right? Yamimam puspitang vachang pravanti vipaschita, right? Like, don't get attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, essentially the Karma Kanda section, right? If you do this, you will go to Swarga, you will enjoy like this, all that, right? So another time he tells, 44th verse probably, second chapter, Traigunya Vishya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. So Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature, right? The transcendence comes starting towards the end of the Vedas and Upanishads, right? That's where the transcendental part actually starts, right? So we don't need to go through all the four Vedas, sloka by sloka and all that. By good fortune, we are born in an era where Srila Prabhupada has already given all the essence of the Vedas. What is the ultimate, eventual or ultimate? What is the inner meaning? What is the actual goal which we should endeavor for, right? That is already mentioned. That is like no Krishna. We need to know who we are. Athato Brahma Jigyasa, right? So Upanishad, actually, that is where the Vedanta Sutra actually begins, right? So Vedanta, like the culmination of the knowledge of Vedas, right? Essentially, yeah. Or those finally sutras, formulas, the sum up, right? Summing up, right? That is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That is the thing where actually real inquiry begins. So we are fortunate to be connected to International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and we have ready-made food, essentially food for the soul, which is Krishna Katha, or the essence of the Vedas, already mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in his books. So yeah, it's as a preacher, like means we should save, or we should help the innocent bystanders or fence-sitters, right, who are getting bewildered in basically in today's time. So yeah, Vedas doesn't mean automatically spiritual. This is not easy to understand for new people. So we have to actually basically, as a preacher, I'm the member of the Iskcon. Iskcon is preaching movement. We have to help in some way or other way, so that more and more people can be saved, and they can come to the real process for basically spiritual upliftment. So that's what. So Harinam is the and here Nam Rupa Gun Lila, right? Name, form, pastime, yeah, and qualities of Krishna. That is what we have to actually we have to be engaged in remembering that and basically chanting, hearing. These are the two core things, yeah, and accepting only Krishna Prasad. And we should not imitate. Of course, as a devotee, progressive devotees, we are not imitating, but we should spread this knowledge that one should not imitate Lord Shiva's some circumstantial actions. Rather, one should follow, what Lord Shiva actually intends for all the living entities. So I will stop here. 2 points I wanted to share. One was the imitations. We should not imitate. We should follow the instruction of great personality like Lord Shiva. And second was Vedas, like partial knowledge of Veda, that will not help. No? Vedas automatically does not mean spiritual. Yeah. So we have to understand these things. Hare Krishna. Okay. So looks like we don't have any questions. So we will stop here. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Jai. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful understanding of how we have to differentiate between the ghostly people and the devotees, and nicely said that, whatever is offered to Lord Shiva, if it is not offered to Lord Krishna, I think that's the worst thing that can happen, and we should never honor that. So thank you very much for that understanding. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I read it from proper source only, not outside common news article, but actually through Vaishnava literature, I read it actually. Yeah. So then I came to know why so-called remnants of Lord Shiva should not be taken by any sane person. Yeah, like that. It's not real remnant because Lord Shiva does not accept. He is a topmost Vaishnava.
Yes.
He will not accept anything which is non-prasad. Not at all. Yeah, like that. Anyway, thank you, Prabhuji.
Very true. Thank you very much.